A woman seeking to find a father for her unborn child tackles her blind date on their first meeting. 5 months later, she gave birth to his child. Driven by a sense of responsibility, the honest and simple man decided to accept her. She continued to dress herself up extravagantly, going out early and coming home late, clearly using her marriage as an excuse to indulge herself. One day, after the woman left the house, Frank decided to follow her and find out what was going on. He followed her to a bar and had a bad feeling.
Is he even mine?
Huh?
Is he even my son?
You fool.
As they tried to communicate, she hit her head on a hot water pipe and died instantly. Frank panicked, trembling and crying out for her to wake up. A drop of water hit her face, snapping him out of his stupor. He looked up and realized it was water leaking from the upstairs bathroom. He rushed upstairs, but it was too late. In one day, both his wife and child were gone. Frank was arrested and sentenced to 25 years in prison for manslaughter. 3 years later, Frank, during an appendectomy, managed to escape from the hospital and fled. He ended up in a supermarket, where in the chaos, he kidnapped a boy and ordered the boy's mother to take him away. Seeing the man's rough appearance and bloodstains, Anna, the mother, was reluctant to help, but had no choice, since her son's life was at risk. She reluctantly agreed. During checkout, the cashier noticed Anna's nervousness, but she hesitated to say anything. On the drive home, Anna's fear and anxiety grew. Just then, a police car passed by, and Anna hesitated, thinking of her son in the back seat. But she ultimately decided to ignore the police and kept driving. When they arrived home, Frank took a look around the house. The familiar warmth of the place eased his nerves a little, and kept a small knife hidden in a drawer. Frank noticed her anxiety and calmly assured her he wouldn't harm them. He explained he had escaped from prison but wouldn't hurt them.
Never intentionally hurt anyone in my life.
You understand? How that could be hard to believe.
Meanwhile, the news on TV reported a fugitive who had escaped from prison showing Frank's photo. Frank comforted Anna, assuring her he was harmless. Later that night, he pretended to tie Anna up so they wouldn't suspect him further. As he gently tied her hands, Anna felt his tenderness, and her tension began to ease. He apologized for the unexpected intrusion and went to the kitchen to prepare lunch for them. As he carefully made the meal, Anna, still bound, was fed by Frank. He blew on the food before feeding it to her, showing his gentle side. This small act made Anna feel more at ease, and she began to warm up to him. The next morning, Frank made breakfast again. Anna, looking at Frank's photo in the paper, was curious about his past.
Just know that there's more to this story than you'll see in that paper there.
How'd you escape?
I told the guard at the hospital if he left, I was going to jump out the window. He heard that and he went to have a smoke. Nothing misleads people like the truth.
Frank shared stories of his own life, which Anna and her son had never heard before, especially from a father figure. He also revealed more about his family. Meanwhile, Anna, still feeling uneasy, decided to tie him up again. But Frank assured her it was no longer necessary. He had no intention of hurting her and her son. As time went on, Frank began to take on a fatherly role in the house. He fixed the stairs, tidied up the yard, and even taught Anna's son, Henry, how to play soccer. His presence brought a sense of completion to the family. Meanwhile, Anna had begun to relax and trust him, even mending his clothes. The warmth in the house grew, and life seemed peaceful again. However, when a neighbor came by unexpectedly, Frank became nervous. The neighbor brought peaches and noticed Anna wasn't home. Frank, still pretending to be a handyman, convinced the neighbor everything was fine. But soon, the neighbor left, and Frank was left feeling relieved. Frank, as if trying to make up for his intrusion, suggested they make peach pies together.
Peach. It's too bad they're all so ripe, you never get through them all.
I should throw most of them away before they rot.
It was an ordinary family activity, but it felt extraordinarily special for them. They spent the afternoon together, laughing and enjoying the moment. Frank's warmth and patience slowly melted Anna's remaining reservations. Henry also noticed the change in his mother when Frank was around, sensing her affection for him. One night, as they sat together, Frank pulled Anna close. The affection between them was undeniable, but their happiness was short-lived. The sound of police sirens broke the moment.
Tomorrow, Once your stitches have had a little more time.
They're not gonna stop looking, Adele.
They have dogs that can smell your blood. You should probably let your stitches heal. You should stay.
Frank realized he couldn't stay any longer and decided to leave. Anna, however, didn't want him to go, and Frank reluctantly stayed. That night, their bond deepened. Frank took on the role of a father and husband, doing everything he could for the family. He made their house feel complete and full of love. But Frank's fugitive status continued to loom over them. The family made the difficult decision to escape to Canada, where they could live without worry. They told Henry, who agreed to the plan. But before they could leave, Henry made a final visit to a girl he liked. But in his panic, he revealed their secret about Frank. The girl quickly guessed that the fugitive was at their house. Henry's admission disturbed him, but he believed she wouldn't tell anyone. Meanwhile, Frank saw Anna was acting nervous, and he urged her to act quickly. She was still scared, especially since her son had almost been found by the police earlier. At the bank, Anna struggled to withdraw the money for their escape, but Henry managed to cover for her. In the meantime, Frank was spotted by a neighbor while he was leaving. He explained that he was a maintenance worker and sent the neighbor away. However, the danger was escalating. As the family prepared to leave, Henry got a phone call from his biological father, which put the plan at risk. Desperation set in, and Frank realized there was no way out. He tied Anna up again and told her he just needed a few more days.
It took 20 more years just to have another 3 days with you.
He kissed her goodbye, then walked out the door to turn himself in. His escape had added 10 years to his sentence. Anna, heartbroken, tried to hire a lawyer to defend him, but was told it would be futile. She kept writing to Frank, but he refused to accept her visits or letters. 25 years passed, and Henry, now an adult, owned a bakery. One day, he received a letter from Frank, who was soon to be released from prison. Frank wanted to know if he could visit Anna. Henry, unsure, wrote back, knowing his mother had never given up on Frank. She had stayed in their old house all these years, waiting for him to come back. After 25 years, they finally reunited. The two embraced, vowing never to part again. Some people love many others in their lifetime, while others, once they find the right person, are willing to wait for them forever.